Flood Protection Secrets, the podcast to the protection against heavy rain and flooding by Dr. Flood, Andreas Klippe.
So the big challenge is, how can house owners like you and me get a flood-free home? How can business managers like you and me get a flood-free company? And how can public servants provide flood-free critical infrastructure and livable cities?
Flood Protection Secrets, the podcast by Dr. Flood, Andreas Klippe. This podcast is for foresighted and proactive people who do not want to shovel the muddy water out of their room while standing in the midst of the disaster.
Therefore, those who design and plan, the architects and engineers, need to construct such buildings and cities, and that even when the entire environment is completely flooded. That is a challenge, and this podcast will give the answers.
Flood Protection Secrets, the podcast by Dr. Flood, Andreas Klippe.
Are you also tired of seeing those stupid sandbags everywhere? I am, and I really have to say, at the beginning of the year 2024, Germany is a developing country when it comes to flood protection, sad to say. So what does it mean? During the recent flood after Christmas 2023, so it started almost 10 days ago, until now, beginning of January 2024, sandbags were widely used to fight this recent disaster of flooding all over the country. It has been raining for almost 10 days at the northern part and in the middle of Germany, and also in the south, but more in the north and in the middle. And the soil in the meantime is saturated and cannot cater the water masses anymore. So the creeks, rivers and canals are overflowing. Professional shipping has been stopped on rivers due to the widening of the river. And dikes are breaking due to the saturation with water and do not protect the villages behind anymore. You know what happens with the dikes. It is the same when you have a sponge in your kitchen, these yellow sponges. And once they are full of water, then you cannot wipe any water from the table in the kitchen anymore, because the sponge is saturated with water. And that is the same with these dikes. So, but what do I see on television, or what do I hear on the radio? The media is only reporting about sandbags. The German federal state of Lower Saxony has declared that they run out of sandbags. They are now procuring them from other federal states like Hesse, but Hesse, that is where Frankfurt is located in, but Hesse also is in need. So in the meantime, several million sandbags were used, not to count the millions of square meters of valuable sand. The sand cannot be used anymore for construction, for instance. So it is considered hazardous waste and must be disposed of in landfills. So I will not talk about the costs at this point. Now, that's not the topic. But I heard from one case that the local helpers needed 45,000 sandbags to protect 300 meters along a street. 45,000 sandbags to protect only 300 meters, that is nothing. So if you ask me, when it comes to some kilometers, okay. My statement is very clear and rude. This is not only stupid, it is, sorry to say, it is bullshit. It is really, no other words come to mind for such stupidity. Sandbags are really, that is, no words. There are modern flood barrier solutions available. You know, you need only 10 people and about 330 elements of a mobile flood barrier, perhaps 350 elements, something like that. And you install these barriers within 1.5 hours along the street, for my example, for the 300 meters. And there is no hazardous waste. Nobody is tired from the installation, from the dismantling, because I said only 10 people. But to be honest, you can also do that with 4 or with 6. And you have not to feed the people, because you can imagine for 45,000 sandbags to protect 300 meters, how many people you need, how long it takes, and then people get tired, they want to sleep, they need a toilet, they want to eat, they want to sleep, and so on and so forth. So, and especially when it is cold, like in Germany right now, so temperatures are just below 10 degrees, but 4, 5, 6, 7 degrees. Now it goes to 0, so it's not really comfortable. So that means people get tired very quickly. And these modern barriers, as I've said, you can install in 1.5 hours for these 300 meters. And they can be installed, by the way, up to 2 meters height. Up to 2 meters. That's a little bit higher than I am. So my height is 1.92 meter, so 2 meters. And the normal roof height in a building is 2.50 meters. Yeah, normally in living rooms, in houses, depending. Yeah? Okay, there are these barriers are made of aluminum, and they can be used up to, I always say, up to 100 years with good maintenance. Where's my clapping the hands? Yeah. Here it is. Exactly. Up to 100 years with good maintenance, I always say. And I don't want to make a promotion for one product. That is not a sales podcast, but I just want to tell the people, hey, these things are available. Why do you use these stupid sandbags? And you spend millions of euro for nothing. And it takes very long, and it is very tiring. And at the end, it even does not work, because they are not watertight. So for protection height of 1 meter, I said, okay, let's protect up to 1 meter, because that is what I saw there in TV for this example. They didn't put it up to 2 meters, they put it up to 1 meter only. And 300 meters long. When you use metallic flood barriers, you can store these barriers, these thin aluminum plates, in metallic crates. So you only need 6 crates, and every crate has the size of an office table, something like that. So 6 office crates. You can staple them. That is very easy. You can operate these crates with forklifts, for instance, put them on a truck, bring them to the site where they shall be installed. So that means, imagine you go to a warehouse with a truck, and then you need the barriers. So you just arrived. You open the door. You take a forklift, put it on a truck. That takes 15 minutes. You drive another 30 minutes to the site. It's 45 minutes. You need 15 minutes to unload and prepare. It's 1 hour. And then you install in 1.5 hours. So in 2.5 hours, the 300 meters are fully protected. Now compare this with 45,000 sandbags. That is why I said it's completely stupid. And you can use all these barriers again and again and again. It is not hazardous waste. Because you destroy all the sand, by the way. What do you do with all the sand? For millions of sandbags. And sand is a very expensive material, what you need for construction, at least. What else? Of course, these barriers are very watertight. They are not leaking, so they follow these very strong rules, and they are not leaking that people have to worry. So almost there's no leak. I recently saw them installed, and now it comes in front of a huge government building along the National Convention Center. You know where? Guess where? In Doha, in Qatar. Yeah, you hear well, huh? In Qatar, in a desert country. Yes, in a desert country. The sudden monsoon rain just flooded huge parts of Doha on October 27, 2023. So last October 27. There was a heavy rain from 4 to 5 p.m., 1 hour. And I personally was there in November, because a friend called me and said, Andreas, you must come. We were all underwater here. Cars are swimming and basements are flooded. And perhaps you just come and look for your installations. So I visited the installations. We protected 12 governmental buildings way back in 2019. Not now, 2019 already. So well done. Yep. And Qatar was choosing the best technology they could get. And the well done is not only said, I've not said that for us. Of course, yes. I'm also a little bit proud about it. But I said it for the Philippine deciders, for the Qatari deciders. Just recently, the director for city operation for Doha Education City, this huge city with a Doha Education football stadium inside and all these universities, the Qatar National Convention Center, the National Library, Qatar Academic School, Texas University, and so on and so forth. And he said, the director said, Dr. Klippe, your flood barriers did an amazing job by protecting our buildings in Doha Education City from the danger of floods. Oh, that was good. I asked him, can you please repeat that? It sounds so nice. So why do I mention that so often? I said, okay, Qatar was taking the decision 4 years ago already. But what is Germany doing? We rely on sandbags. On sandbags only. I have another button for that. Huh? Oh no, that was not the one. I wanted to play the very sad music, you know. And these sandbags, that is really from the last century. This is Stone Age compared to what is possible in the meantime. And this is why I wrote, tired of seeing those stupid sandbags everywhere. Yes, I am tired. And the name of this magic mobile flood barrier. Normally, you know, I don't advertise any products here in this podcast, but sometimes you must mention something because, of course, I mention cars when I talk about Mercedes and BMWs and Porsche and what did I forget? The Mercedes, yes, the German most popular cars, and I compare that with Toyotas or with Lamborghinis or Ferraris and things like that. Then, of course, or Rolls-Royce, I mention brands, and sometimes you have to mention brands just to understand better what we mean or what I mean. And in this case, the name of the magic mobile flood barriers is INERO or INERO, INERO in English. INERO, I always call it INERO. It's a German pronunciation, but anyway. And the INERO Mobile Flood Barrier, it is a Swedish product, and it is so unique. That is why I want to spend a minute on that. The huge advantage is really the speed to install and dismantle them, the minimum space you require for storing, and the long-lasting use of 100 years. So I told you already, you need perhaps 6 people to install them in 1.5 hours, 300 meters. You need 6 crates, big as an office table, to store them. You can even staple them, and you can use them up to 100 years with good maintenance. They are made of aluminum. So, and they are lightweight. I said it, made of aluminum. So one element is about, 1 meter, is not really 86 centimeters, 82, 90, something like that. So almost 1 meter, and that can be carried by one person only. You can also, to install, you can carry several barriers, of these very tiny, very thin, it's not tiny, very thin barrier plates at one time to install it. And that makes the big great advantage and difference. And but now there is another huge advantage, and I always compare that with these millions of sandbags, this stupidity what I see here in German television all the time, and I think it's the same in other countries here in Northern Europe as well. But I don't want to blame anybody. I don't know about that, but what I know is I know what they're talking about in German television. And what is this outstanding advantage? This barrier type is inclined. There's an angle compared to other barriers. So it is not a barrier installed by 90 degrees. Why is that so important? Imagine, I give you a small example. Imagine you drive your car against a wall. What will happen? Boom! Accident. Perhaps you survive due to your inflating airbag. But your car is totally damaged. And now imagine that you drive against a wall that is declined by some degrees. So it is more like driving on a ramp or driving upwards on a hill. Nothing will happen. So you have all the time to reduce your speed. And this is exactly what happens when you use these declined INERO mobile flood barriers. They are resistant against the impact of floating debris. Floating debris, what is that? Of course, they look to the pictures that are shown and aired in TV. There's a lot of floating debris when it comes to flooding. All these swimming branches, garbage, bicycles, all kind of things that are swimming with the floods. You know, when a house, a normal private house is flooded, completely flooded, then all the interior, everything what was inside, will be thrown outdoor. So that means at the end you find your refrigerator, your washing machine in your garden, if you are lucky, or at the end of the street. The same with your with the kitchen interior, with your sofa, with your television there. So everything was swimming somewhere outside, because the doors and the windows they also broke. So, and this floating debris is what I mean. So that can damage other barrier types. I don't talk about the barriers that are installed inside doors and gates. That is a complete other flood barrier system. Then we talk about specific entrances. Here I talk about longer distances along creeks, along rivers, along streets to protect large parts of municipalities. That is not the same like what you have when you protect your garage or your main door or your terrace door. There, of course, vertical barriers are the best what you can have. And most of the time you don't have direct impact, because very often you have lateral impact. That means unless your house is the last in the street and you have a frontal impact of the big wave, then you must improve your construction. That is also possible. So these barriers are made for that. But when I talk to barriers in the street, outside, built in territory, and by the way, they are not built in, they are only placed. That is the next advantage. I even did not mention it while I'm talking. I recognize I forgot to say it. You don't need any civil works. There's no drilling, no anchoring system. You just place these barriers everywhere, on gravel, on asphalt, even with curbstones. So no problem with that. And by the way, that is what we have done in Qatar in 2019. And along this National Convention Center, the protection was almost 1 kilometer with these declined INERO mobile flood barriers. And when I was there recently, they were installed. So, and there was another one that is the carousel. The carousel is a building that has a lot of artwork, very expensive artwork in the basement. The Emir of Qatar has collected a lot of artwork all over the world and historic carousels. That is why they call it carousel. It's also round. It's a round building. But there is Galilei flight machine duplicate replica inside. And what else? They have a Murano glass horse. And you imagine a small glass horse, so 50 centimeters or 40 centimeters long. So what you can put on a table, the value is already $2,000 or something like that. But his horse is 2 meters high. Can you imagine the value of such a horse? And there are many other old parts. So that is a kind of museum, and everything is stored in this basement. And this carousel building was also protected with these mobile flood barriers from Sweden, the INERO one. So 200 meters, and that was protected on gravel, on concrete, and on sand. That was what we found. So you just have to place these barriers, and 200 meters, I think they made They made it in 1 hour. 1 hour, 1.5 hours, something like that. Same, almost the same. Very, very fast to install. So that was a solution, and I'm really tiring of seeing those stupid sandbags everywhere. There's one good thing, in case my friends from Focus Online are listening to this podcast, that is at least one publishing house in Germany that has started to promote solutions and for the readers. And luckily, they asked me to give my opinion about flood protection. And so slowly but surely, there's at least one channel that is Focus Online that belongs to one or the biggest publishing house in Germany, at least for the German-speaking community, but I think in Europe that is Border, and they go this way. But I didn't see that from others. And sometimes, as I've done here in my podcast, so of course I'm free to say whatever I want, but it should also help you. And that is why I told you the brand name as well, because that is the only available mobile flood barrier that is declined and has a patented system to interconnect the panels. And it is made in a sturdy way that it will not move on any ground, any foundation. That is why I mention the brand. Yeah. So please forgive me if you say, "Oh, this guy is advertising." Oh, come on, we are here to learn something, and that is why I, of course, share it. And when something is good, you should mention it, and we should mention it. All right. So, yeah, if you want to see it, you can go to Sweden, or you just can visit me in Doha, or come to the Philippines in our Asian Center for Flood Control. We also have elements over there, and can show it to you how it works. Or you come visiting me in Doha, Qatar. Then I will show you around how a country like Qatar is protecting its citizens and infrastructure with modern flood barriers, while in Germany we still do it like in the Stone Age of flood protection. Stay safe and flood free. I wish and hope for you that you make the right decisions when it comes to your personal flood protection. And if you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe to this podcast channel if you haven't already. Now it only remains for me to wish you a good day. Do something with it. Maybe until the next podcast episode. I would be very happy. See you then. As always, stay safe and flood free. Your Andreas Klippe and the whole Flood Experts team.
That's it again with a new episode of Flood Protection Secrets, the podcast by Dr. Flood Andreas Klippe, German engineer, book author, and head of the Flood Experts. What can Dr. Flood Andreas Klippe protect for you? Anytime? Worldwide? Contact us or just click through to www.thefloodexperts.de/bonus. Detailed engineering, German quality, safe, flood protection secrets, the secrets you'll want to unfold.
Don't forget, you're only one flood barrier away.
Subscribe to the season, and you'll never be late for an episode.